course, at the end of a mod movie, there's got to be the big wipeout scenes, the big hits where everybody's getting wiped out that can cause a threat of them, possibly being locked away for life. And I tell you what, when it comes to Alan King and everything, just out of the blue, and it was one of the advisors who, was when it came to that had connections with the mobs or something like that. I mean, again, you folks, you got to listen or watch the bonus features of this. But the guy walked right up to Alan King and just popped him in the head. He drops, and another guy right behind him just kind of follows, casually, popping him as he's walking right in the head continuously. And one of the, and of course, I think the biggest shocker of all, even though, I was familiar with the story prior to the movie, was the fact when, you hear Joe Pesci's character, Nicky, talking about him and his buddies, meeting out once they got out of jail. Some of them were meeting out in the cornfield, and he had his little brother with him, and then they were talking, and next Frankie comes up with a bat, and you hear Pesci going, "Oh!" while he's doing his narration because he just got hit with a baseball bat, and then, of course, him and his brother, getting pummeled with those baseball bats were just, those were, I could see people kind of, turning away to look at it. You couldn't look at it. It was just, but some of us, were compelled to still look at it. It was like, how you drive past a car accident and everything. You get compelled to watch. And that scene right there was just, man, it was out there because you did invest into that character. The character was talking to you while this movie was going. And then all of a sudden, you're watching this guy have the crap beat at him with baseball bats and buried alive. That was one of those turning points to go, wow, this is what the movie's about. And I have to say, what do you think? What was your memory on about that scene, that particular scene, the big payoff when it comes to Pesci's character?
It was a very humanizing scene. It was one of the few times in the movie that you really see Joe Pesci's character show something other than anger, other than the macho bravado. He was more worried about his brother living through the ordeal than his own self. There's a line from it. He says, "Frankie, leave him alone. He's still breathing. Just leave him alone."
Yeah.
But instead, he gets beat with a bat, and they both get tossed in the hole.
Yeah. And I think the scene that really, stapled it well was when Frankie was looking down in disbelief that, he had to kill his friend. He was in charge of killing his friend, and he killed his friend and his brother to add insult to injury, I think, that right there was, he didn't have to say a word after that. That scene right there, just him looking down, perfect way to end that scene,
Yeah.
But also when it came...
I felt like that character, I felt like Frankie was in turmoil. He was angry at the fact that, Nicky messed up so bad that, it all had to come to this, and I think at a point he was remorseful for how it ended. Yeah.
Yeah. That's usually how it is. Sometimes you see a friend that's tearing himself down, and you can do so much, and then you gotta let them bury themselves. That's perfect. That was perfect analogy. But I will have to say, though, when it comes to De Niro's character, his character lived true. Because at the beginning of the movie, you see De Niro coming out to a car. He gets into his car, and the car blows up. And then the credits starts going, the beginning credits. And then at the end of the film, you realized, well, one, the person who, obviously it was Nicky that, ordered the Sam's death. But, he... realized that, the person that put the bomb on the car, put it underneath the driver's side, and there was a plate on that particular model that year that saved him, when it exploded and everything, the fire and everything went out, spread out first before the actual implosion, and because of that, he was able to get out of the car before the whole thing went up. And again, that was his character's in real life luck too, because it happened in real life, and the character, he was great as a, when he called his numbers on gambling and stuff like that.
Fixer.
Yeah.
He would get the fix, and he would set up the bets for the bosses and would make them their money.
Yeah, and he knew. And the great thing about the characters, like even they said it, in the movie, he knew here, there, what, if the person's girlfriend was pregnant, if the football player's girlfriend was pregnant, he knew how many numbers was in a basketball, the basketball court and everything, how many screws were in there, and the way the balls bounced, and he studied the games of sports, and that what helped him, hook that handicap to come up big on those things. As you said, he was a fixer. He knew how to read things, and makes me kind of jealous too, because I've never won a thing in my life. But I mean, again, it showed it basically dissect how everything worked when it come to gambling, and and how they worked the system and fixed the system to where it could not be beat no more. They were able to hire guys who knows how to find out the hustle in the card games, those card sharks that come in and are trying to steal from the casino and everything. Especially that one scene, another scene that was very pivotal, is when they shocked that guy with a cattle prod.
Yeah.
And then they took him out into the back room and then broke his hand with his shuffling hand with a hammer. So, I mean, they showed the true business when it came to Las Vegas, that those guys weren't going to screw around, and you're not going to come in and steal from us, But again, this movie, I'm always going to give this movie out of 5, from 1 to 5, 5 paws. This movie's always going to be played in my house. I always watch it. Even when I'm doing stuff around the house, I'll usually throw Casino in. Mostly because it's, it's a lengthy film, but also I can enjoy it endlessly and never get tired of it. It's just one of those films that's so rewatchable. So, I mean, well, your final thoughts, Paul.
I mean, I believe it ranks right up there with The Godfather. I mean, I love that movie. Like I said, I'm a fan of the whole, the whole mob movie from Scorsese. I mean, it was just excellently done. Great movie overall. I liked it. If you watch like the Irishman, or even there's one called Kill the Irishman. It's on Netflix. It has Christopher Walken in it. I mean, it's really good. They're all just really well done. But Casino is just it's all on its own. It's a standalone, just amazing film.
It's a creme de la creme.
I would have to give it a 5 out of 5. Just an amazing movie.
Yeah, I mean, it is the creme de la creme of Vegas, basically Vegas films altogether. I mean, honestly, there was a lot of Vegas movies that came out after this, and TV shows based on Vegas shortly after this movie's release, and I mean, and some of them paled in comparison, but again, this was one of those gold standards that, when the stakes are high, Scorsese, can, knock it out of the ballpark. And when it works, it works. And sometimes Scorsese has some flops here and there that are good movies, but they just didn't work well. But this one is one of those. Again, Paul, I want to thank you so much again for joining me on the show.
No problem, brother. Anytime.
I mean, when the first show that you joined me on, when I'm thinking, you know what? Because I just watched Casino the day before, and I'm thinking, and of course I still had it on my mind, and I'm thinking, I know Paul loves this movie. And, and this is one of the movies you and I never talked about either. We never talked about this until now, about this movie.
Yeah.
We were always too busy talking about It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. But I mean, again, this movie is, and there's so much to talk about, but it's insane. But I mean, I think we hit the high points. I have to say, folks, check this. If you have not checked Casino out, do it in any format possible. And again, if you get a chance and find it in the stores, buy the DVD and watch the special features, because it adds more to it once you understand the full story and the mystique of what this story was based on, the true story it was based on. It'll blow your mind, because the parallels are seamless almost, besides the name changes. They're right there on top, All right, Paul. Well, thank you again for joining.
Absolutely, brother. You have a great night.
We'll do just that. And folks,
See you later.
folks, be sure to like and subscribe. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up button and everything, folks. That helps out a lot. And if you have seen this movie, tell us on the comment section down below your favorite moment in Casino, or your favorite Scorsese film altogether. Alright, folks. That's it now for the Movie Dawgs. Don't forget to subscribe, folks. Thanks for watching. And please, keep on watching, folks.